Well, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for being here tonight. My name is Ilya Chapman, and I'm the founder of Voyage Blue Travel, and I'm the manager of Travel Resources Group, which are two travel agencies. And we are here tonight with the team of the Oceania Cruises and Inspiration Artist and Design Gallery. And I am very, very pleased with our collaboration together, and I'm really thrilled to have you all here. So on my next slide, I can show you who is here. And you see me there on the right bottom. I live in the Florida Keys, and I'm born and raised in the Netherlands. So if I say some weird word, I do apologize in advance, but at least I have an excuse. It's my Dutch coming out of me. We have Paula Brody here, who is the artist, gallery owner and manager, I think. And she has Jill Segal here, who is an artist with the gallery. Maggie de la Cruz, she's from Oceania Cruises, and she is here, but she's doing the back of the house because unfortunately Maggie does not have a lot of speaking capability because she does have COVID, the poor lady. So we have Terry Vuolo here tonight, and she will be doing the presentation for Oceania Cruises. Suzanne Stoll is the Oceania Artist in Residence, and she actually let us know that she is on the road still. She's a week late getting back to her Cape Cod area. So unfortunately, she won't be here tonight, but some of you might know her because she's also in the Naples area. Paula, do you want to say something to anybody? Let me see where I can find Paula.
We have to unmute Paula.
Okay. I don't see her.
There she goes. Paula, go ahead, honey.
Okay, so I'm just wanting to welcome everyone. We're thrilled to have you. And later in the presentation, I'll be sharing with you some of my research on the artistic opportunities in our various ports of call for both cruises. So happy to do that. But welcome, everyone.
Thank you. I do want to also give a shout out to Suzanne Kaskowicz, who is here tonight, because she really has been advocacy for this cruise as well, to combine traveling with art. And it's been on her bucket list for a long time. And I'm very proud that she did this. And I want to give her a shout out and a big thank you to Suzanne. Thank you.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah. All right, so the next slide, I just wanted to, if you brought your cocktail, whatever it is, I just wanted to raise a glass. Travel is the only thing that can make you rich, although I was thinking art actually does too, right? Because when you buy a piece of art, that will make you richer as well in many ways, the same as travel. So what a great combination. So travel is here to stay. I'm very happy to be here, and I thank all the ladies for taking this initiative. And cheers to everybody. Let's have a wonderful evening. And then without further ado, I think I'm going to hand it over, not to Maggie, but to Terry, who will tell us all about Oceania Cruises. Take it away, Terry. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I would do anything for Maggie, my colleague, and for any of our wonderful advisors and agency owners around the country. So it's a pleasure. And yes, I might have been watching TV tonight, something on Netflix. Or I may have been reading the book of Jacques Pepin's autobiography. I read through the book twice in the 18 plus years I'm with the company, and I'm actually ready to read it again this summer. It's a wonderful read. We'll talk about Jacques in a little bit. Now, I have to warn you, I'm going to look at my notes occasionally because I just saw this presentation only in the last 2 hours. Having been with the company over 18 years and working for many other cruise lines, I can do a pretty good presentation, but I have to make sure I know what's coming up on the next slide. So forgive me if I'm looking down at my notes. I don't like note readers or screen readers. I find it just very very frustrating. But this slide was just set aside to talk a little bit about me. And I think you now know enough about me. There's nothing more you need to know. Hopefully you can understand me from my Northeast regional accent. I am in Manhattan right now as we speak. I would show you the beautiful skyline that I do have outside my window, but we don't need to see that. So let's move on. You know, I just did a presentation in New Jersey about 3 weeks ago, and I had never focused on these 4 little words before. And your world, your way is our catchphrase. Your world, your way says so much because you're really building the cruise experience the way you want it. You can include as much as you would like. You can take out a few amenities here and there to lower your price point. But I have to say that between Ilya and Maggie, they put together a beautiful comprehensive program, and we'll talk about that when we get to the end of the slide presentation. All righty, these are our pillars of distinction, and it's what we are known for, what we are all about. Actually, what I wanted to do was turn off my camera, because I find it very distracting. Give me a second. If I can do it. I don't know if I could do it at this point, and I'm going to ignore it. Okay, I'm just going to do this instead. If you don't mind looking at a black screen, you're supposed to be focusing on this. All righty, so we are a foodie cruise line. I'm going to point your attention to the central pillar. We are known for the most delightful cuisine, beautiful dining experiences, and we'll talk about it a little bit later. I've done consumer events like this where folks in the audience have said, oh my gosh, I've never heard so much about food with any particular product ever. And I'm going to try not to do that tonight because there is so much to talk about other than our delightful cuisine. These are smaller ships. In light of all the big boys that are out there on the open seas, our ships are truly no longer considered in a mid-size or greater. So these are smaller ships with a very luxurious feel. Now, if you go to the far right, when we say curated travel experiences, it has to do with where we decided to bring the guest to these marquee ports that maybe bigger ships cannot call on these smaller ports. There's less tendering, and I hope you all know what tendering means. You're going from a big ship to a little boat in order to get in. It's almost like being in Manhattan. You have to change subway trains to get from one place to another, or it's like changing flights on your way to the West Coast. You're doing a change of planes in Dallas or in Chicago. So curated travel experiences means we are not just going to the standard, although we do go to the regular ports as well, but we're also doing these diminutive ports. So let's talk about the O-class ships. Oceania Cruises has 2 classes of ships presently. Next year, we will have a 3rd child entering the family. That's Vista. But you're going on the beautiful Marina, and she is the first in the class, Oceania class of ships that came in 2011. She's exquisite. She has gone through several refurbishments, renovations, dry docks, whatever you would like to call it. So she looks fabulous. So keep that in mind. And Marina has some wonderful features that you may not find on our smaller ships, which are the R class or regatta class ships. Number one, there are the Ralph Lauren suites, which are tremendous. They're about, on average, 2,000 to 2,500 square feet. But there's also concierge staterooms, which we'll get to shortly. There's additional dining rooms on Marina that you don't find on our smaller ships, such as Jacques Pepin's Bistro and Red Ginger, or Asian fusion restaurant. There are the first cooking schools at sea on the O-class ships. So Marina offers you the opportunity to take some cooking classes as well as some culinary short excursions. You know, I'm not a gambler, but we have to mention that we do have a casino on board with slots as well as games. And there are some other cruise lines that don't have casinos. Now, I may not gamble, but I like to walk through the casino after dinner at night. It's very exciting. There's a lot of energy and verve. Art collection. I mean, this is what we're all about here tonight, aren't we, ladies? We have a beautifully curated art collection on board with contemporary Cuban art, antique art, beautiful prints, sculptures. There's even a book that we published years ago on our art collection, which is fleet-wide. So you would really be pleasantly surprised once you get on board. I believe we're still offering headset. You know, I'm pointing to my ears as if you can still see me, but you can go to the reception desk and pick up a headset, and you could do a museum type crawl through the ship. And you'll see by entering a number, just like when you go to the museum, the artwork that you're standing in front of, and it tells you about the artist, the theme of the piece, why it's named in a particular way, the age of it, etc. And of course, the artist's loft. It is 1,000 square foot room. It is stunning. We're going to talk about it a little bit more later.
Excuse me,
So
Terry,
Yes.
we didn't get to see the other two slides. I'm sorry.
Is something skipping?
We did you?
No, I haven't hidden anything else. I'm just going straight through.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. You were talking about the artist loft, and I thought the slide was
No,
there.
I said I'll
Okay.
get back to that later. That's a little bit
Okay.
later, I think, in the
Sorry.
presentation. No, it's okay. It's quite all right. I know you want to hit everything, especially that has to do with art. You know, my very first group that I dealt with back in 2004 was an art group. So I think this is pretty auspicious. I should be helping out Maggie tonight with an artist group. The artist has since passed away. People used to come to watch her paint. And she would take a group out every year on one of our ships. It was unbelievable. That's how popular she was with her following, her clientele, her fans. All righty, so let's take a look at how we kind of stack up against the competition. And our tonnage is much smaller. And I know a lot of guests, consumers are not really familiar with tonnage, so I'd almost rather go through guest capacity. Our ships hold either 684 guests or up to 1,250 guests at maximum capacity. That's when we're selling out full. So if you're talking about a bigger ship, they have 2,000, 4,000, sometimes 6,000 people on board, plus their crew. So it's really nice as we're all getting a little bit older, and I hate to focus in on age, but you want to leave behind the mega ships and get into something a little bit more elegant. The average stateroom size is from 280 to 288 square feet. We beat out the competition as well. We do call ourselves upper premium. We created this new category in the cruise industry back in 2002 and 2003 when Regatta first went into the water. The staff to guest ratio is awesome. On a ship with 684 guests, there's 400 staff. Most of them are dedicated to the culinary product. So we know you're going to have a spectacular meal. So keep that in mind. There will always be someone there to serve. They're all very polite. They will truly get to know you extremely well, especially when you become a repeat guest with us. They really get to know your drinks. If you want to have your food come to the table in a slightly different order, meaning hot entrees versus cold beginning courses. Now, this is a really great graphic because if you look at the white silhouettes at the bottom of the screen, those are our ships. And Allura, which is the Vista that's coming out April of next year. But more closely, I want you to focus in on that central one where it says 66,000 tons, 1,200 guests. That is Marina and Riviera, her sister. They're identical. There's a few slight differences, but only somebody who really knows would pick up on the differences because Riviera came in a year later, but they're pretty much identical and they're beautiful. When these ships were launched, the trade papers, Travel Weekly, Travel Agent Magazine had said these were the most beautiful ships ever built at the time, 2011 and 2012. We were very, very proud of that. So taking a look at this really tells you where the big boys are, and they're really darned large. And in light of everything we've been going through for the last 24 to 26 months, you do want to be on a smaller ship. Everything is so much more manageable and so much more personalized. So talking about category A, concierge veranda, and category B, veranda as well, they're identical in dimensions, but category A has the extra bells and whistles. So this is where you have priority embarkation and debark, priority baggage handling, there's champagne on arrival. There will be 2 concierge on the ship, one in the concierge lounge and one who is on the reception deck. So there are 2 people to give you additional assistance. And of course, you'll always have your cabin steward, and the cabin stewards always have an assistant also. So your rooms really do get turned over pretty nicely from breakfast through the dinner hour. So they're sometimes in your stateroom, your suite, while you're at meals or you're at a shore excursion. You'll see how beautifully laid out there's a large marble and granite bathroom. There is a private veranda where you have a table and chair. And there's also a sofa with table, I should say sofa. And I guess let's give us multiple on chairs. So there's enough ample seating to have meals en suite. In fact, you can order in as a concierge feature from the grand dining room at no extra fee. But let me tell you, our room service menu is superb. This is not just grilled cheese and burgers. We have a beautiful room service menu. We got accolades on it over the years. So keep that in mind as well. So it's just really beautifully laid out. In fact, the marble and granite clad bathrooms will have it. Actually, that's in the suite category, not here. So I'm going to stop myself. We don't need to talk about the suites. Unless you have questions later on, we can get back to the penthouses. Now, this is category C, floor to ceiling windows. So for those folks who don't want to pay for a veranda, they will have the feel of a veranda stateroom, but you cannot open this floor to ceiling window. Otherwise, ladies, it's a sheer drop to the sea. We don't want to lose anybody, but it is, again, a better price point, and it's got great square footage. It's about 230 square feet. So you're just taking the veranda out. Still a marble and granite clad bathroom. In fact, there's Bulgari toiletries, if you're familiar with this wonderful jewelry company that also does lotions and soaps and things of that sort. So just stunning, beautiful. And just look at the lighting in the bathroom. We really did some great things. In fact, that was another thing we got accolades on, was the lighting, both in the private quarters as well as in the private bathrooms. Alrighty, entertainment. There's something new every night. There's always an original show. As I mentioned earlier, we do have casinos. Every day at 4 p.m. there is afternoon tea, white glove service. I could talk about that for a little bit. I always tell everybody, do it once, because it is a calorie cruncher, if you will, because it's the scones, the clotted cream, the desserts. It's just a lovely afternoon, and there's always live music. We take our orchestra, we break it up into trios and quartets. We do have a library on board, which is stocked with really good bestsellers as well as reference material. But there's also a library for your accessing email. You want to post on social media. So we have 2 libraries on every ship, and you will have a Wi-Fi package included. So you can get minutes, unlimited minutes for one device signed in at a time. Now, this is where you want to talk about art. The Artist's Loft is only on 3 of our ships. Insignia, which does the World Cruise, and Marina and Riviera, it was designed specifically for these 2 ships. And like I said earlier, it's about 1,000 square feet. My favorite little anecdote to tell about this is when the ship was here in New York about 4 years ago. Here we are in Manhattan, a short walk to the theater district to see a Broadway matinee. And what do we have? There's a lady, a guest, working on her artwork all by herself. And I said, why are you not in port? And she says, I've been to Manhattan before and I need to work on my art. So there's always an artist in residence, as Ilya and Maggie, I'm sure, have told you, on every voyage. Sometimes they stay on a back-to-back-to-back. I've met several of the artists. My friend sailed in, my gosh, I think it was 2018 in Norway with Andre Willard, and our chairman discovered him in the Wynwood art section of Miami. And she actually purchased a piece of his artwork, but she also brought home the artwork that he taught them to do on board. So this is a marvelous room, and I'm sure Ilya will direct you and guide you on how to get the best, since you are all art fans and artists in your own right. All righty, I did mention a little bit of the art collection, and I just get so excited talking about our art collection. It is superb. And the top left is actually Jacques Pepin's art. He's an artist in his own right. In fact, his signature is a little umbrella. And if you go to his website, you'll see that there's a lot of his beautiful artwork for sale. He does his own illustrations and his cookbooks. And we're lucky to have even some others of his artwork and trophies on Marina and Riviera. But it's not just watercolors or oils or acrylics. There's also sculptures. And it's from all over the world and all different eras, if you will. So we'll have some deco. We'll have things from, I can't say, you know, we have Buttersworths on board. I don't know if we have time to talk about the Buttersworths, but Frank had one in his collection. One of my friends has one, and they go from anywhere from $300,000 down to $30,000. So I was surprised when one of my friends had one. I didn't ask what he paid because that's very crude. I would not have asked. Well, we've got some beautiful artwork. I think the Buttersworths are on the Regatta. All righty. We are a foodie cruise line. We have the first 2 cooking schools at sea, designed by Bon Appetit magazine years ago, and now just managed by our chefs. And these are classes from 60 to 90 minutes to a full day of culinary experiences and education. You go into port, you go to a farmhouse, then you watch a demonstration, you go to the marketplace, maybe in Barcelona, and I believe you're going to Barcelona on one of your itineraries, and then you come back to the ship with the provisions along with your instructor. My gosh, I could talk about this also for a very long time. I was lucky enough to do a class myself back in 2011 when Marina first came into service. It's really a delightful experience. The classes do start, I believe, at about $79 for the shorter of the classes. And of course, the price goes up if you're doing a culinary shore excursion where then you're coming back to do some cooking yourself. Now, I had said earlier I could talk about our cuisine for probably a good 30 or 40 minutes about all the ingredients that we locally source, the sustainable seafood program. If you're watching your diet, you're heart healthy or you're low sodium, even sugar-free. My husband always ordered the, oh my gosh, now I'm forgetting what it's called. It has a silly little name, but it's sugar-free and fat-free. So there's always something and they're delicious and he always looked forward to it on every cruise. Me, I was going for the high fat calories and the desserts because I didn't want to skimp on the wonderful foods that were put out by our culinary team, which is headed by the culinary elder statesman of the culinary world. And this is Master Chef Jacques Pepin. He's been with us since before we opened our doors. I've met him several times. He sails with us at least once a year, typically on Marina or Riviera because of the cooking schools on board. His daughter, Claudine, whom I've met also a few times, is the godmother to the Sirena. That's one of the smaller ships. And they're really a wonderful family. He's still doing a podcast now with his granddaughter. And we just have a wonderful dining experience under his direction and supervision. We do have relationships with other culinary companies like Wine Spectator Magazine and Dom Perignon, and it just goes on and on from there. So everything is about superb cuisine. The picture you're looking at in the top right is the Polo Grill, steaks, seafood, and chops. Those are those beautiful Italian leather chairs, which are so heavy that even a man has to be pushed in and taken back out again. They're just gorgeous. It's all the dining rooms are stunning. We never pay a fee to dine in our specialty restaurants because dining is of the utmost importance to us at Oceania Cruises. All open seating dining, again, never charged for any of the specialty dining rooms or even our grand dining room, which goes without saying, or our terrace cafe, which is also an al fresco dining area. There's Waves Grill, where you can get all different types of burgers. There's a wonderful salad bar. There's smoothies and shakes. Indoors at Terrace Cafe, but you can also bring it to the al fresco area. There's a grill for steak and lobster, both at lunch and at dinner. There's always local regional specialties, as well as a carving board, seafood selection. There's always something to eat. If you're a vegan or a vegetarian, I'm a pescatarian, you never go hungry. You still have to watch your calories because there's lots of wonderful bites to eat in all of our dining rooms. So, everyone always says that if you go to a wedding, for example, and the food is awful, it's just ruins the whole experience. And my favorite Jacques Pepin quote is about, if you have a lousy tomato, you're going to ruin the meal. I have paraphrased it just a little bit, but he does say lousy tomato, which I find hilarious with his French accent. So talking about destinations, where we go around the world, we make sure, and it's really our executives, this comes from the top, that they are poring over the globe and they are taking such a good look at where we should go next. Some of our travel advisors will sometimes get in touch and say, there's a port that you haven't been to yet. Do you have the possibilities of going to these new ports? So we're always looking for something new. 450 ports worldwide. Our voyages start at 7 days, all the way up to 180 days around the world. That's from January through July of every year. We sometimes will sell segments after it's been on the market just for a little bit, because a lot of folks like to take it for the entire 6 months. It's just, again, an experience that's unlike some other cruises. A lot of cruise lines, they only go into port for a few hours. We're in port sometimes up to 10 hours. So you get to experience this town, this city, this port in the evening. Or we stay in port sometimes for an overnight, or we're in port for 3 days, 2 nights, using the ship as your hotel. So keep that in mind. And no one wants to be around the crowds. That's why I say you want a smaller ship, as we're now sailing and cruising again more and more and more. And for example, Monemvasia is in Greece, and it's a World Heritage Site. So you'll first go to maybe a monastery, and then you walk over to do the World Heritage Site. It's one of the few ports where we do tender, and that's where a ship is too big to get into port. But there's not a lot of tendering since our ships are on the smaller side, but occasionally, yes, we will tender. But there's World Heritage Sites throughout our itinerary, so take a look. Now, this is where we've gotten really creative. I remember a travel advisor who lives in North Carolina told me years ago, you really need to do more specialized shore excursions. And sure enough, that was the year we did design Go Local. And this is where you're going into someone's home or into some sort of a very unique community project, and you're really getting to know the local community and the local culture. So our shore excursions are just not your typical, let's get on the motor coach with 48 other people and look left, look right, jump off, take pictures, jump back on again. We also now have Go Green, and Go Green is all about sustainability and how the community is keeping their home as pristine as possible with a lesser carbon footprint. Now, there's something really new that I love, and it's all about architecture, and it's called Beyond Blueprints. So they're going to certain architectural important sites and telling you how this structure went up, what it took to build it, permission, community outreach, and so on and so on. So those shore excursions, which I have yet to do, are really going to be something quite new. Maggie and I have the luxury of going off to Europe in a few weeks. So I'm wondering if there's any of the Beyond Blueprints for us to do. There's always the wellness tours that are managed by our Aquamar Spa and Vitality Center. So it's all about mind, body, and spirit wellness. There may be lectures on how to really shop better for groceries, and they may take you somewhere for a class in yoga. And speaking of, our yoga and Pilates are all complimentary. So there's a lot of different things that we do. We already talked about culinary discovery, but I can add into that. One of my friends did do a culinary excursion, and he said it was, and he's a real good chef in his own right. And he said, I learned so much about how to select the right spices and so on and so on. I'm watching the clock now, ladies, because I realize I'm just getting a little too excited about my product. So I'm going to try to clip it a little bit. There's also small group tours, but only up to 16 people in vans. And then there's the executive and private collections where you design the shore excursion the way you want. So it's only 2 people in 1 car. Alrighty, some of our shore excursions include dinner. I don't have time to tell you about when we went to St. Petersburg and St. Catherine's Palace, and we had dinner in the palace, but that was really out of this world. So we've got some wonderful things that we hope you'll get to enjoy. And I'm going to pass this back to Ilya at this point.
Wow, thank you, Terry. You're definitely a wealth of information about Oceania. I love it, and especially the special excursions and all the dining. And so, yeah, we all know that Oceania does an incredible job on curating the guest travel experience, but we actually think we took it a notch up and picked those 2 itineraries that Oceania offers and really highlight the art opportunities during those 2 itineraries. So the first one we have is the Jewels of Iberia and France, and it goes from Lisbon to my hometown, Amsterdam. And I hope to be on board. We'll have to see, and Paula will be on board. And it's going to be a very itinerary intensive, port intensive itinerary. If you see the next slide, you will see that every day there's a different port. So it starts in Lisbon and then we end up in Amsterdam. And there's a lot of opportunities there for us. So I wanted to ask if Paula maybe wants to highlight some of the ports on the next slide, Paula.
I'd love to. We selected these itineraries because of the art highlights, and beginning in Portugal, I do want to say that there are opportunities certainly to augment your cruise experience with both pre and post experiences. And certainly in Portugal, there's the opportunity for independent travelers to spend a few days visiting the Azores or exploring Portugal before embarkation. The ship goes on from Lisbon to Oporto, which is a World Heritage Site known as the home of Portugal's port wine, but it's also a thriving community of art galleries with many art galleries on the scene. The ship goes on to Bilboa, and you can see on the left-hand side of your screen the exquisite Guggenheim Museum in Bilboa, Spain. So that will be a very exciting port for us. It's the second Guggenheim, world famous not only for the art, but certainly for the architecture of the museum. Bordeaux, France has an exceptional contemporary art museum, but in that port, people may want to go to the wine museum, 7 stories of wine with tasting. It's a unique museum and also known for the beautiful architecture. Heading on to Paris, of course, a day in Paris in springtime, so much to see, so much art, or you may want to spend that day, perhaps, we're hoping to create a side trip to Monet's Giverny. In London, there's, of course, the Tate Gallery, which is fantastic, but there's also the opportunity, we are hoping, to do a side trip to Hertfordshire to see, as you'll see in the slide in the upper left-hand corner, that is the Henry Moore Foundation and Sculpture Park. And we're hoping that potentially those who might wish to go there, we can arrange a tour for them. Bruges, Belgium. Of course, Belgium is well known for the beautiful Belgian beers, and also you'll be enjoying the chocolates there, but also several noted art collections. And we're very excited that this tour ends in Amsterdam, which, of course, the Rijksmuseum with original Rembrandts and the Van Gogh Museum there are both international attractions. Ilya, whose native city is Amsterdam, has said they've updated both museums with interactive exhibits, and that will be a really wonderful opportunity to spend a few days in Amsterdam post-cruise. Plus, Ilya, do you want to speak about your authentic Netherlands experience?
Yeah, we'll do it. I have the pre and the post tours coming up a little later. Yeah, definitely. Okay. I would love to share. There's nothing better than go around a country when you are with a native, right? Because I hear things and there's more interaction in my own language. Yeah, definitely.
That's right. She's already packed her wooden shoes.
Yeah, for sure.
You want to go on to the next slide of the second itinerary?
Yes. I think this one was another opportunity we had in La Coruña for people who didn't know that you could do hiking the old trail, right? Which is the Santiago de Compostela, a little section, just something to put in there. Often people don't realize and wonder what's there to do in La Coruña.
Yes, but, and I didn't highlight all the ports. I just kind of gave some of the
I think it's great.
Features. Yes.
Yeah. So the next itinerary we have, we'll leave on September 29th, and it's the Mediterranean enclaves, and it's from Barcelona to Trieste, which is just outside of Venice, and it's 12 memorable days on board. And again, we have obviously pre and post cruise adventures available there, but this is, I know, definitely one of Paula's favorite as well, because of all the opportunities there to see. If we go to the itinerary on the next slide, you will see that it goes from Barcelona to Monte Carlo, which is one of my favorite ports. When I worked on another cruise companies, we would be docked right in Monte Carlo. It goes obviously to Rome, and I just want to always let people know it's actually Civitavecchia, and then you train into Rome, but it's obviously a beautiful port. And then it goes all the way around up. It says Venice here, but it really is Trieste is where it ends up, and it's Dubrovnik is obviously one of the beautiful cities as well. So I think Paula has some research done, and I think that's the uniqueness of these two itineraries, is that you have Paula, who really has done her research and handpicked those itineraries and gives that added value. So yeah, take it away on the next slide, Paula.
Okay, and Jill Segal is another artist who will be on this cruise with me. I'm sure that some of the ports will inspire Jill to create beautiful live art demonstrations in the various ports. There's also an opportunity for those of you who are in Naples, although Jill teaches a bit online, to take a complimentary travel collage class with me and the opportunity potentially to be with Jill as well. We're very excited that this cruise starts in Barcelona because you will want to arrive before embarkation and give yourself time to go to the Picasso Museum. The Juan Miró Foundation is there, and of course the amazing architecture of Antoni Gaudí, his churches and the buildings that are really renowned for his unique architectural style in Barcelona. The ship goes on to Monte Carlo, Monaco, beautiful ports there that you can see in the photos. And of course, a day in Rome with Michelangelo, the Sistine Chapel, so many beautiful opportunities for our day in Rome. Amalfi and Positano are visual panoramas into themselves that will probably inspire everybody's inner artist. And we'll look forward to seeing, some of the drawings and paintings that we can create there in these beautiful vista opportunities. Messina, Sicily is next. The opportunity to get to some very authentic fishing villages in Sicily. And the ship goes on to Valletta, Malta, which again is has some medieval and historic opportunities. Catalan, Greece is near the site of the origin of the Olympic Games, and you may choose to go on that tour or stay in Catalan. Of course, Corfu, Greece is another one of these beautiful ports that will offer inspiration to everyone's inner artist. Dubrovnik is a walled city in Croatia. It's certainly on my bucket list to get to Dubrovnik, so I'm very much looking forward to that. Kupor, Slovenia should be a wonderful port as well. And this ship will end the 12 days in Trieste, which has quite a variety of art opportunities, but it's also a day trip. Will be overnight in Trieste to the opportunity to see the little town of Prosecco, where Prosecco wine originated as well. And it's from Trieste, it's an hour and a half into Venice by car, and people may wish to do some post-cruise opportunities in Venice. It's my understanding that just with some of the environmental conditions in Venice, they're discouraging all of the cruises from embarking there. I'm not sure what you heard, Ilya, in terms of that slight change in itinerary, but we are not far from Venice and hope many people can end their experience there as well. So that's what I wanted to share about just some of the art opportunities. Again, this is a cruise, your world, your way. If you wish to take advantage of any of these additional art lovers opportunities in any of the ports, we would welcome that. But again, that's absolutely your choice. But we've researched this for you, and we'll try to arrange some additional tours in various ports so that we can enjoy the art museums, the art galleries, and general art venues in the various ports. So that's what I wanted to share with you. So thanks so much for including me in the presentation.
Thank you, Paula. You're definitely a wealth of information, and I'm very, very fortunate to be working with you. So on the next slide, I have a little bit of an idea of pre and post. So obviously Oceania offers pre and post opportunities. And when you combine that with air, that's obviously a very smooth transition, but we also can do our own. I actually highlighted here the Azores, which might be a little bit unusual, but if you are coming from the Northeast, the Azores is a non-stop flight from Boston, and it's only 5 hours away, and it's a beautiful island group, and that might be a good opportunity. I've sent many clients there already, and it's beautiful, especially in spring. And then obviously Barcelona, the windmill you see on the right is actually the windmill close to my hometown where I grew up. I drove by there every day to go to school. And my plan is if we have enough people interested, we definitely would add on a day going to my hometown, for example, and maybe experience something really local, very unique. So that is an opportunity there. And like Paula said, Venice is definitely an option as well for to do an extension there. So on the next slide, I think that's where it says it's also offers by Oceania. So I want to point out is that the tour, although we've picked out the itinerary, we have special rates, obviously, as we are booking it as a group, but I want you to know that it is really your way. So it's an individual trip. You can make it how you like. You can join the excursions, you can do your own thing. It's just that we highlight those two itineraries, and you will be making your booking obviously individually with me, and we make it your way. And I think that's important to realize. So everybody might add on pre or post something else and maybe do different itineraries, but
Right.
we just want to bring that expertise for you.
And certainly, you know, what I didn't say is that the Oceania itself in every port has a wealth of excursions that the ship itself offers. And I believe we get some complimentary excursions if we go with the O-Life package as well, you know, if you opt for that. But, you know, so those are in addition to everything that we might try to offer for art lovers on the cruise.
Yeah, very special. So I think we're going to give it away to Terry again and talking about a little bit more of the what Oceania has to offer. Terry, are you still there?
I am still here, and it's a great presentation, ladies. And please forgive me, gentlemen. I was just taking a look at the gallery, and there are men with us tonight. So I think I may have said ladies only earlier. So I don't mean to dismiss the guys who are with us tonight. But yes, we do have an air inclusive program, which Ilya will walk you through if you don't have mileage and you need transatlantic air. But again, if you do not need air, there's always an air credit. And that's always part of our program with Oceania Cruises since our company's inception. I'm going to jump to the next slide because I believe that, Paula, you just mentioned the O-Life program. You'll see on the next slide all of the different group amenities that you'll be getting because you are traveling with Ilya and with her Voyage Blue. I love the name of your agency. It's just such a pretty name. But the standard promotion within the marketplace is called O-Life Choice. So you have your airfare, and it's only from certain gateways around the country, and including Canada as well. It's a majority of the major ones. That sounds redundant, but Ilya will go through the listing with you. And you have one of these three options to add to your program. So I'm not a big drinker. I would not take the House Select program, which is by the glass, beer, wine, and champagne with lunch and dinner, including room service lunch and dinner. I would opt most probably for the shore excursions or the shipboard credits. Now on a 10-day voyage, which is what I believe these two sailings are, it would be a $600 shipboard credit per couple, or it's 6 shore excursions per couple. The beverage package is a value of $39.95 per person per day. All of that combines with the exclusive offer to the agency and to this wonderful art group. So you'll have a welcome reception party as well as a second party. It might be your farewell party. Depends on how it's all organized with our group's coordinators. There's an additional, if you opt, let's say like I would for the $600 shipboard credit, now there's an additional $150 shipboard credit per couple or per stateroom. And Within your stateroom, there will be another bottle of wine. When I say another, if you're in concierge level, there's champagne in category A inclusive. So you may now have this added bottle. So it's a really great program. And if you book by July 1st, which is in another, I think it's 9 or 10 days. Am I right, Ilya? There's an added bonus for you of another $200 in shipboard credit per stateroom or per couple. So it's really a wonderful program that Ilya worked out with Maggie. And I would say, seriously, take a look at your calendars and your druthers, if you will. What do you really want to do in the way of a vacation that's not just a cruise experience, but an art exploration? And you get to walk hand in hand with Paula and hopefully with Ilya into her hometown, which I think is spectacular.
Yeah, it's a fun, definitely fun experience to go to my hometown. We always meet people and there's always a lot of laughter and it's just beautiful. You really get to feel the Netherlands. So yeah, I just wanted to point out, you know, obviously we're here to help you. There's always an advantage when you work with Voyage Blue Travel or with any travel advisor, having Suzanne here on the call as well. It's a one-stop shop, right? And we have the experience, we look at what your vision is, and then we're able to, you know, work together on your itinerary. So in this case, those are the two itineraries we offer, but maybe you have some ideas pre or post, and we can really look at it, what you're looking at, what you're comfortable with within your budget, and what you're looking to get out of the pre or post tour. So yeah, it's just a nice way to work with a travel advisor, and you know, you get to know, I get to know to you, and you get to know to me, that's for sure. I think we're almost at the end. Yeah, I think we're at the end here. And I want to thank everybody. We do want to open it up for some questions maybe. I will be available obviously for reservations. Do take advantage of that extra shipboard credits and put down the deposits. And then, you know, you can take it from there. I know September seems far out, but I can let you know that people are traveling and the world is open and welcome and everybody is happy to see us when we are going out there. I have a lot of people in Europe this summer, and I think those two itineraries will really be very valuable for everybody. So is there any questions we can answer for you?
Yeah, I'm going to jump in really quickly because Maggie was very kind in reminding me that I did not mention that all of the non-alcoholic beverages are included. So it's unlimited bottled water, it's Vero water, and you'll even get a glass bottle if you want to continue to fill it up during the course of your voyage. But it's also unlimited soft drinks, juices, specialty coffees. We will never charge for a cappuccino. We even have granitas, which are like a frozen coffee, a frappuccino, if you will. Just when you put a shot of booze, if you want an Irish coffee or a Jamaican coffee, then there's that specialty coffee you have to pay a little bit for.